fallen into a slump after suffering an injury or a health scare or being a little depressed? Well, I'm going to give you some pointers that are going to help you to cope with some of these problems, both mental and physical. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I'm doing to recover and cope from some of these situations in our aging years. So stay tuned. Now, even for those of you who have not reached the super ager years, you might get a few pointers from this. Those of you who are still in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, maybe a little preparation for what's ahead. And it's not all bad. Hello, my friends. Today, we're going to talk about something that's dear to my heart right now. And it's something that has affected me since I tore the meniscus in my knee. And that was about 2 months ago. And it's something about recovering mentally and physically from a setback, either an injury or a health scare, or just the fact of growing older. Now, I turned 86 last November, and I'm in my 87th year now, and it seems as though, like overnight, my energy is not as good as it was. Well, that's because I had to spend almost the whole time, 22 hours a day in bed, resting. The doctor opted not to go for surgery. That rest was going to be healing the meniscus, and it worked to a certain extent. But as I am getting back to, and I'm not going to say normal because I'm nowhere near normal, I notice that my energy level is not there. Just bustling around the house trying to get ready for my brother's visit, I find I poop out very easily and quickly, just doing menial jobs. The big things that I used to do, things like gardening and going in and feeding the birds and moving tubs around and all sorts of things, being able to go to a thrift shop and walk around for hours in there, being out with my daughters. That's not happening yet. And I am learning to figure out how to handle it and how to cope. And I have some ideas for you too, if you're going through the same thing of being up there in years. In fact, you don't even have to be in your 70s or 80s. Things happen earlier to people, and we have to carry on. That's my theory. I'm not giving up, but I'm adjusting my life, and I'm going to talk about some of the ways that we can do this physically and mentally recover. As you can see, I did my hair in my shower this morning, and afterward I did put Vaseline on my face, a nice layer, because I'm at home now and I love the slugging. I love the feel of the Vaseline on my neck, my chest, and my face. Not a heavy layer, just enough to make me feel good, and because I do know that the benefits for me and for a lot of people, I know there are people that don't care for Vaseline, but a lot of us have been using it, including our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers for years and years. It does help me. And so I need a base anyway for makeup, and it's either that or my bio oil gel or castor oil, or something that I have used since I was in my 30s, the Nivea in the blue jar. That's my go-to. I do love my Nivea. So I'm kind of ready. I decided that I'm going to go for the curly short look today with the hair. So I'll take this out, and then we'll talk about what all this is leading up to, is coping with aging, coping with getting old, or coping with living old, which is more like what it really is, and all the things that befall us. Now, I thought I was a pretty active 85-year-old, 86-year-old until my birthday. And then everything kind of hit, starting with the tear in the knee, and then the shoulders and various other things. And then the little flare-ups that I always had, which never really got me down, are appearing a little more often. So I have to adjust my life. And I'll tell you some of the things I'm doing And some of the things that I'm learning are way, way, way more important than what you might think. One of the things that I have not done in a long time is to look into one of these heavily magnified mirrors. Now, I don't know what this one is. I'll bet it's close to a 9 or a 10 times magnification.
I fixed it for
And sometimes...
That's the one I fixed for you.
Oh, you did? Oh, that's right. Moosey said...
Fingerprints on it that I can't get out.
I got him out. Moosey said, this is the magnifier that I haven't used in so long because the light went out. And now Moosey has fixed it. He's put new batteries in, and it had finger marks all over it. It was filthy, and he tried to clean it. Actually, I got to it today and got all the things off. But have you looked in one of these really magnified mirrors lately? When you look into one of these mirrors now, wow, you really see things that you have never noticed in such a long time. Now, normally when I look in a regular mirror, I never see the little hairs on my chin. So those always become apparent. But what I noticed today, when I was doing my eyebrows, I noticed gray hairs, white hairs, thick ones, sticking out of the hairs up here. So I think the answer to the eyebrows is maybe I need some brow gel to calm these down. Because if I took these and put them up here, they'd go straight up in the air. So they do have to be down. I don't want to pluck them out because I do like the real hair look. But, Vaseline might work anyway. So what do? Do you want to tweeze them and take them out? I thought the idea was to keep as much hair as you could. I did get one or two that were very obviously sticking out, but that's something I noticed. The other thing I noticed were the very loose skin under my eyes. Normally, I don't see that. So maybe it's a good idea not to look in these mirrors. What's the harm in not seeing all this? I realized something here. Talk about shoulder pads. Well, you want to look fit, right? So most of the times I have been using shoulder pads. Not too much lately. But I notice now I have one shoulder pad in and the other one has disappeared. Now, I've had this happen before. Sometimes it goes down here, which I could use the fullness here. Sometimes it just falls on the floor. And I did find it on the bathroom floor. Now, I'll tell you why it falls out. When you have these pads, you usually have these nice little Velcro snaps here. And I've told all you about how I picked these up on Amazon. And they do make you look much, much better in clothes. Because as we age, of course, we get that slopey shoulder. But I'll tell you a secret. I don't wear a bra anymore. So I have nothing to clip them onto. Now, why don't I wear a bra? Well, number one, I am not well endowed. I've always had small little breasts, and that's fine by me. I'm glad I don't have big boobs. But now what do I do with these? It's okay if it falls out when you're around the house, but what happens when you go out? So I have to figure out a way now to be able to keep these in since I'm not wearing bras. Now, the second reason that I'm not wearing bras is something to do with what this video is all about, and that's learning to deal with all the little injuries and pains and chronic things that pop up in your older years. And besides the knee, I think the day I turned 86, everything said, whoo, we better attack the shoulder, we better attack the wrist, whatever. My arthritis seemed to flare up tremendously, and I have it in both shoulders, and maybe it's a rotor cuff or whatever, but I have pain in both shoulders, and it's become quite difficult to lean around the back and hook a bra. So I've given that up. I really didn't need one anyway, but sometimes you want to wear something. So I'm calling this video, How to Recover or Cope in Older aging years, from a serious injury or not so serious, from a health crisis, from depression, or from some disappointment that's going on in your life right now. Just maybe just feeling blah, and you want to learn how to get out of it. Now, it's not rocket science. And if I started telling you all the ways, you'd say, oh, yeah, I've heard that before. But one thing that I have to tell you that is paramount of all things is gratitude. We're going to start with that. Now, I hope that you can find all sorts of things that you're grateful for at this age. I certainly can. I am so grateful that, number one, that I've lived this long to enjoy life with our family, with my husband, with friends, and to be able to be active and not really having had to go through any real health crises of my own. Now, within the family, yes, and I've worried and had stress over several of those. As you know, we have a great big giant family. But other than some arthritis, which I did inherit from both my mother and father, I have always had flare-ups, probably since I've been in my 40s, in my hands, in my wrist, in my knees, my hips, definitely the hips. But I would limp around for a while because I had to do things. There were things that just had to be done. I'm talking mostly about the hip now. And with some anti-inflammatory things and a little bit of rest. In the past, I really couldn't afford to stay in bed for too long, but keeping going, the flare-ups go away. But think of all the things that you're grateful for. Now, honestly, it's not a big deal to do that. So many things that have brought you joy over the years. Think back on your years. I think of growing up and the wonderful parents I had. Now, I know everybody doesn't have that, but there's got to be something in your life, in the past or the present, that you are grateful for. So that's the one thing you've got to say, okay, I'm feeling lousy, but I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful that I'm here. Now, second of all is acceptance. And acceptance, we just have to do it. We have to accept what's going on in our life. That doesn't mean that we can't do something about it, though. Now, whether it's pain, if it's a depression of some sort, if it's serious, you want to get some therapy, see a doctor. But a lot of the depression that we suffer during our later years is usually something that's fleeting. A lot of it comes to us in the night, or it comes to us if something went wrong that day and we just have to give up. I find that probably during the night, when I don't sleep well, which is something that as I've gotten older, I sleep in 2-hour segments or 3-hour segments, and I don't dwell on it anymore. If I have these moments of thinking about all sorts of things that are not good thoughts, the future, or stressing about something that I'm not able to get done around here, I will get myself out of it. And that is either going on YouTube, turning the TV on very low so it doesn't wake Moosey. Certain things, just change your thinking and try and get over that. Number 3 is stress. We can stress about anything, can't we? Try and forget about the stress. Most things we can't do anything about it. Stress is brought on by ourselves and what we're thinking mentally or what's going on physically. Trying to do too much, trying to do what we used to be able to do. That's a biggie with me. I have learned in the past, I would say a week or two, when I've been in a little bit of a recovery from this meniscus tear, finally, when I've been able to get out of bed and start doing a few things around here, my energy level is terrible. It's not anywhere what it used to be. And that's another thing I have to do. I have to stop comparing myself to what I was before. I probably will never get back to that. Not because of the knee, but probably because of my age. And I once again have to get back to the gratitude that I didn't really know I was this old for a long, long time. I just kept doing what I always did and was able to, fortunately, and didn't realize I was in my late 70s or early 80s until I started to fall. And I had about 8 or 9 bad falls. Thank God, other than a black eye or something, or maybe a hip, a couple of knees. I think that might have precipitated some of the problems I'm having with my knees now, but not serious. I never had to have x-rays or see a doctor or anything. So I'm fortunate there. But that gave me a hint that perhaps I better slow down. So if you can do these things in your mind, adjust your mental thinking about what you're trying to do, what you want to do. I hope that in time I will still be able to get out to the thrift shops and spend an hour or two walking around with a basket, leaning on a basket. I have already gotten out and done my very first food shop. I didn't go to Walmart because the Walmarts are so gigantic and those take a lot of time to get to the back of the store and up and down the aisles. I didn't think I was ready for that, and I'm not ready for that yet, but that's normally where I would do my food shopping. But I did do quite well at Vons and managed to do that. Now, one of the things that I think wrecked out my shoulders was coming home and trying to carry 3 bags in each hand into the house, lifting the 24 water bottles and putting them from one place to another. I didn't realize that I should not be doing those things, and that probably had a lot to do with what's happening. But let's get on to some more little things that we can do, practical things. As I say, it's not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen, not rocket science. We want to feel like ourselves again. Well, I think we can do that to a certain extent. To a certain extent, you have to, in your mind, think, what can I do now that will make me feel as great as I've felt before, maybe doing something else? As you know, I've always promoted learning, lifelong learning. Whenever I don't understand something or I've heard something that I'm not familiar with, I go straight to Google. Moosey laughs at me because I think Mr. Google knows it all. In fact, we've wondered, how do they assimilate the information that they get, new information on almost anything? It's amazing. A lot of people do have Siri too. And I know Mikey and his family, Siri lives with them. Upstairs, downstairs, they ask Siri all sorts of things. And maybe Siri has become somewhat of a homeschool teacher to the kids because when they don't know something, they ask Siri. She plays music. She helps Megan and Sabrina cook. It's amazing. Okay, here are the easy ones. Get physical as you can. Now, I have noticed that my knee does act up and it scares me. And the other knee, when I looked at I should show you my x-rays I have for my knees. I was shocked. My left knee looks as bad as the right knee, which was the one that the meniscus tear is. There's as much arthritis in there, and the bone-on-bone arthritis, and the meniscus doesn't look too good. I've learned a lot about x-rays. So I have gotten the sleeves, those sleeves that I've showed you already, and I wear those on both legs now. So now I'm an 86-year-old that walks around with shoulder pads, no bra, and wide pants so that I can wear these knee sleeves and that big brace, that iron brace that the doctor sent me home with. My physical situation has changed here somewhat because of getting old. This is just an aside because I think this is funny and it might be a rabbit hole, but who cares? Lucy and I recently were talking about the cottage, and I love my decor of all my little plates and my ceramic tiles and all the little the pewter and the brass and the things that I've loved and collected all my life. That's has always been my decor. No matter where we lived, this has been it. But the cottage is so small, and I'm having to kind of weed out some of my things to clear tables to just to look nicer. But Lucy and I were saying, isn't it funny how our cottage has taken on somewhat of a two old people live here look. And this is what we've discovered. We now have two rollators. And we bump into each other here and there. I have to park mine off to the side if Moosey's going to wander through the bedroom to get to the bathroom. I know where to park it, where not to park it. We have canes in corners because sometimes you use a cane to go here or there. We have a grabber, one of those long sticks, because bending down isn't so fun anymore. And when I try and reach for some of the things high up in the cabinets, I use a grabber, like getting my sugar down or something. And believe it or not, those things can pretty much handle those. Now, out in the car, we have one of those assist handles that you put in a little hook on either side of the passenger or the driver's side, and you lean on it, and it helps you to get into the car. We have all sorts of braces up in the cupboard. We have braces for when you, oh, that's the other thing that acted up this week. My wrist, I've had that before. And of course, as you know, I have the arthritis in one finger, but the collagen is helping that, I think. So we have collagen in the kitchen and various other things in there that we've brought down some cups and things to lower levels that we can reach, maybe not place things on the bottom shelves in the refrigerator. And what else do we have, Moosey, that's sitting around here? Honestly, it really does look like two old people do live here. Oh, we have my toilet riser in the bathroom. And that's kind of something that when Moosey goes in, I hear him having to lift it off and put it down. He doesn't seem to like it for some reason or other, but I will keep it there for the rest of my life. It has turned out to be such a game changer, ladies. And if you haven't pushed yourself to get one of those toilet risers, it just sits on there. It's portable. So that when we travel, hopefully we'll be going down to Mikey's in a couple of weeks and staying with them for a weekend. I will bring that because their toilets are like the little ones that in my kindergartens where I used to teach that were about 1 foot from the floor, a little better than that. But that's what the decor somewhat is like here in the cottage. Now, when we have people over, we try and hide some of this stuff. I'm sure I could remember a whole bunch of other things sitting around here. But, oh, the heating pads too. But all that stuff is sort of up in a cupboard in the closet. Okay, here are the easy ones. I mentioned getting physical. Try and just do anything you can to keep your body going. The other thing, of course, is diet. And we don't restrict ourselves, but I try and restrict early day eating and then enjoy what I need at night. And being a diabetic, I have to take my medication and resist the urge when Moosey wants ice cream or cookies or something in bed. What about pets? Don't we know it? And those pets can bring you an awful lot of comfort. And especially a cat, if you don't have the energy to get out and walk a dog, a cat is a lot of fun. Staying connected with family and friends. You know, loneliness is listed on almost every survey when they talk about things that seniors are most worried about. Besides finances, the future, can I live alone? Will I have to go to a home? Those kinds of things get into your head. You worry about those. Try not to worry about that. That stuff will always come. And always remember that there is help in getting, I think through Medicare and other community services. If you really need help with meals, there's meals that can be delivered to you if you are physically not able to do some of those things. Don't be afraid to accept help either from friends or family. Just accept it with love and generosity. These people want to help you. In the case of friends and family, they love you, and accept the help. You can also get people to come in and check on you if you've recently, had a disability or you've been in the hospital or something. Those, I think, come under Medicare, and there are services available. Do check, call your doctor and ask him. And a lot of times physical therapy for injuries. So we can do this, can't we? I think we can. And encompassing everything, try and stay optimistic about everything. There's a lot that we can't do anything about other than try our best. And stressing about world affairs and the rest of it, that doesn't really matter. What really matters are things that you hold dear to your heart. And for us, that's family. And some simple joys. I keep talking about those simple joys. I gave you the example of my brothers coming out, and all they want to do is talk about nostalgia and the past and the fun we had as kids growing up and the meals that mom used to make. Whereas before, when they came out, it was always new things. Let's go to Disneyland. Let's go to the beach. Let's do this. Life changes when you get older. It doesn't mean it gets bad. It means it gets different. And you have to learn and be optimistic and look forward to simple things. Find out what you really enjoy. If you enjoy just relaxing and sitting around your home, taking a few walks, do that and look forward to it. So I'm taking the little baby steps, and I don't have high expectations of being someone who can run around for 8 or 10 hours a day with my daughters anymore. That's okay. I walk a little slower now. I get more tired easily and quicker. And I'm beginning to accept it. And that's the big thing. Gratitude and acceptance, being optimistic, and all will be okay. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm sure the next video we'll get back to maybe some Saturday and Sunday work parties. I think Mikey and his family are coming up on Sunday for a visit, and we're really anxious to hear all about their 2 weeks in Europe with the kids. They went the day after Christmas and had the most wonderful time in Germany, Munich, and Salzburg in Austria, and Prague, and they toured castles. They ate so much good food, had so much fun, and they danced. They did the Christmas dance in front of every single Christmas tree they came across. Now, for those of you who have not subscribed yet, I understand there's probably half and half of our viewers are half are subscribed and half are not subscribed, but they're called returning viewers or unique viewers. And you still always come back and watch. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please join our family and all the things that we talk about as we are getting into the super ager years. I know a lot of you are not there yet, but you will be someday, hopefully. And it's not bad at all. It's just a little bit of adjusting your mental attitude, staying positive, and you'll enjoy your aging years no end. So thank you for watching. Goodbye for now. I love you, and God bless us all.